distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are honored to organize an international conference with such an excellent reputation. The ICSA AGM is of great importance to the government of Taiwan.
It's not necessarily unfeasible, but it's not very easy. So on one hand, it can be very difficult, and on the other hand, we lose, of course, the increased participation.
Website it does, and we will ensure that there's prominent.
Yeah, I couldn't find the link to it. So it was quite useful to have it in London. Half of our membership is in Europe, so we could get those people together physically.
It's a very honored to have the Vice Premier, Dr. Shi Junji, to join us at this opening ceremony. And then please join me in welcoming and applauding for his presence. Thank you. Welcome. Right, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to join the 2018 International Council of Security Association Annual General Meeting hosted by ICSA and Taiwan Security Association.
But also, of course, honored by the warm welcome and the presence of President and the Vice Premier, Dr. Shi. And I thank you very much, both of you, but of course, in particular in this session, Dr. Shi, for your presence here. It's an honor and a pleasure for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the opening remarks. Thank you. Please return to your seats.
Vice Premier Dr. Shi, Chairman of ICSA, Mr. Li Zhuang, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, afternoon. This has driven away investors and repressed volumes. Fortunately, the competent authority has faced this issue, continue to promote the regulation, open up to business.
ICSA Chairman Mr. DeLozem, TSA Chairman Mr. Jian, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be invited to the 31st ICSA Annual General Meeting.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Now,
台湾也是一个适合投资与经商的地方，在自由、民主、法治的核心价值下，我们的企业联合起来，形成聚落，透过多维度的分工和整合，建构出绵密而且强大的生产网络。
The foreign policy foreign challenge from China is nevertheless very significant. I think it all started with the South China Sea dispute. And if you look at budgets, defense budgets, you can see them here on the right, the US very visible here.
Dr. Brandberg has a very clear description earlier. The markets are strongly impacted by the economic nationalism.
Basically, that document in a nutshell calls for the regulators to return to what they agreed in Pittsburgh in the G20 about to avoid protectionism and look to cooperate on regulations.
They have 5 dimensions to assess the different jurisdictions' performance on corporate governance. Also, the 3-prong approach: market mechanism, regulations, and the self-discipline.
Beginning of the gala dinner tonight, we would like to present to you a traditional Taiwanese lion dance with a modern twist.
TSMA Chairman, Mr. Jian, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. In Taiwan, we say, "家本皇帝大了." That means that we absolutely cannot have a reason to delay the serve of dinner. So I will finish my speech as soon as possible. Okay.
Something that I'll suggest later briefly is that while blockchain is certainly not a panacea, certainly not the answer to every problem, that is too small to too large to perhaps systemically important in a weekend.
Greetings from the very famous and well-known.
On my right, Jochen Krimphoff. Last time I introduced the World Wildlife Fund, I got the name wrong, and I was roundly told off. So it's the Worldwide Fund for Nature these days, but still goes under the acronym WWF.
Looking at the most prominent environmental dimension, the climate change.
So we at ICSA and GFMA, we've been doing a lot of work in cooperation with ICMA and others.
As well, the Ministry of the Environment, MOE, has issued the Green Bond Guidelines, and in a precise sense, these government-led initiatives
At the region, because almost everything involves a currency play, but sorry, go on.
That's still out there, and that's a very long tail, sometimes out 40, 50 years. And if you transition from the LIBOR or IBOR to a risk-free rate, and the market is not happy with the conversion.
And I think they're getting to grips with the nature of that change. So if you think through how a benchmark rate is used within a bank's business, it will affect operations.
Euribor is one of the most widely used European benchmarks, and even that, at the current stage, is not compliant, and EONIA is not going to be, compliant at all.
Yesterday dinner, I have the great pleasure to learn it is one of our distinguished guests from abroad
is going to spend 20 days in Taiwan.
It needs to maintain an operational team that checks and rechecks and checks again all of the activity that's gone on throughout the day, is track the status of each and every one of these promises that are being made between the individual parties as they evolve through that T+2 window.
Right, face forward, please. A big round of applause.
He was named a distinguished alumni, Department of Computer Science, Purdue University, and School of Science, National Tsinghua University.
And then blockchain and cryptocurrency in ICO, and talk about the impact to our industry. Okay, I remember in 2003
to set out the right rules of between financial regulators and incumbent financial companies and fintech startups,
where they'll have access to my back office. They will simply take the data of my back office and create whatever reports they want.
Okay, our GDP together is about 2.6 trillion altogether, and our growth rate on the average for the whole region is about almost 5%.
We also have the very strong commitment with order that we establish the Asian regions. So every year we do the forum and to gather together
to avoid the repeat of such incidents and to build the resilient financial markets.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, now the Madam President has arrived. Could you please stand up and give the big round of applause to welcome Her Excellency Madam President Tsai Ing-wen to come to the closing ceremony.
Great capacity of innovation in the same time, and in the same time, perhaps the great quality of the work of people together, the capacity of working together, maybe in clusters for innovation, or to receive people like ourselves in an international meeting. I think it's something we've met, of course, in other countries, but not at that level and that quality.
Your Excellency, President Tsai, Chairman of ICSA, Mr. De Jong, Chairman of FFC, Mr. Ku, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Now, please put your hands together to welcome Her Excellency's remarks.
I listened very carefully what Mr. De Lauzon has to say just now. He mentioned particularly the importance of interaction with the government and the politicians. Taiwan's current capital market is working to keep pace with our industrial development here. So I am confident that the investors will reap long-term profits.